president over nothing. Do you all agree with that decision? No, no way. These Democrats will stop at nothing to take power away from the people. We need to stop them. My whole mission is to send Nancy Pelosi back to San Francisco where she belongs. If we don't elect a Republican majority in the House of Representatives, they will try to impeach President Trump again next year and the year after. They will never stop. You must stop them, and we will stop them together. I was born in Hazelton, Pennsylvania to a construction family. My mom was a teacher. I had to work all my life, digging ditches, pouring concrete. You ever notice how the Democrats all seem to be rich? You ever notice how they seem to have made all their money while they were in office? Joe Biden was elected to the Senate in 1972. I was -3 years old. He always had a government salary, yet somehow he's worth $50 million. My opponent, Matt Cartwright, flies a private jet back and forth to Washington, D.C., and then tells us it's our fault the environment's not doing well. Can you believe that? He has 4 vacation houses and a yacht named Mamie. He's not one of us. He doesn't think like us, he doesn't act like us, and because of that, he doesn't vote like us. He voted for $1,200 stimulus checks for illegal immigrants. I think we should send illegal immigrants home. What do you think? Cartwright, Pelosi, and Biden have been the biggest cheerleaders for China I've ever seen. I think we need to make China pay. And how are these out-of-touch guys that have never created a job in their life going to get our blue-collar boom moving again and create jobs for northeastern Pennsylvania? So let's talk about one thing Biden said the other day. We're going to transition away from fossil fuels. It's the same thing Matt Cartwright said at my debate with him the other day. You know what that means? We're going to end fracking if Joe Biden and Matt Cartwright are elected. You all think we should end fracking? No! Fracking can create hundreds of thousands of jobs for us. We need to support fracking. So I'm just going to make you one promise if you elect me. I will never forget who I am, where I come from, and who I represent. And I represent you. So I'm begging you, I'm pleading with you, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your relatives, get out and vote Republican, vote for Donald Trump, vote for Jim Bognett, vote for Republicans up and down the ticket, and we will make America great again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the real fun. Get on your feet. Get on your feet. I want to introduce a man who spent the last year crisscrossing the country for our values, for our president. A man who is a Second Amendment advocate who'll make sure we will always be able to have our right to keep and bear arms to protect ourselves and our family. A man who has been to Pennsylvania so many times it's hard to count because he knows Pennsylvania will decide this election. Ladies and gentlemen, the son of the President of the United States, Eric Trump.
Jim in Washington so bad, make sure to get out and vote for him. You know what's amazing? First of all, Pennsylvania, we're going to win this thing in 9.5 days. I promise you, we are going to win this state. We're going to win this state. You know, I was just watching, so I left New York a little while ago. I got home for the first time in about 4 weeks. I got to see my kids for about 15 minutes, and I'm back out on the road. And I was watching Sleepy Joe, right? He called it Buck County, Buck County. I thought this guy says he actually lived in Pennsylvania, right? He called it Buck County, like singular, not plural. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's Bucks County. I'm pretty sure, right? It's like, oh, Buck. So there were 10 cars there. 10 cars. Guys, I'm not on the ticket, and look at this room, and look how many people, and literally, how in the world could a guy who's actually on the presidential ticket, in a state that, The media's heads are going to explode if you say that, all right? You gotta be a little bit careful. That's okay. Don't worry about it. That's fine. I mean, but how could a guy who's apparently from Pennsylvania, even though he ditched here when he was about 7 years old, I lived in Pennsylvania longer than Joe Biden lived in Pennsylvania.
Because you're a Pennsylvanian!
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know what's actually funny? My father lived in PA. My brother lived in PA, Ivanka lived in PA, Tiffany lived in PA, and I lived in PA. The only person in our family that hasn't lived in PA is Melania. So what we'll do is we'll get her a house here, and would you guys all welcome her to PA? 5 out of 6 isn't bad, but let me ask you a question. You're the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. You show up in Bucks County, and you have 10 people there to see you, and the rest of the people are staffers. I mean, literally, they wouldn't even zoom out. The fake media, they wouldn't even zoom out on the crowd. That's how bad the crowd was. There were exponentially more Trump people across the street than at Biden's rally. And then he called us all chumps. It's a really amazing thing. He called us chumps. He goes, those chumps over there who support Trump. It's like, there's a lot of chumps in the state of Pennsylvania, clearly, because there's a lot of Trump love in this state. It's hard to believe it. His wife's introducing him, and he's got 3 masks on. He's pacing back and forth behind the stage. It was like the most awkward scene you've ever seen in your entire life. It was unbelievable. But guys, I promise you, I've been all over this country, and we have never had enthusiasm like we have right now. I'm telling you, we've never had enthusiasm like this. Well, Miami-Dade, this is a good little statistic that I just read as walking in here. Miami-Dade, we have 1,900 more Republicans that have voted in Miami-Dade than Democrats. Isn't that kind of an interesting thing? 1,900 more, and by the way, in a county that always goes completely blue. Isn't that really amazing? Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know? And guys, everywhere we go, it's literally thousands and thousands of people. I mean, just the enthusiasm's off the chart because people are sick and tired of what they're seeing. And by the way, you saw it at the debate. By the way, how did Joe Biden do at the debate, guys?
He's liar.
Well, you know, he kind of lost Pennsylvania when he started talking about oil and gas.
Yep.
Come on, Joe, tell us, are you going to ban fracking? Are you going to ban fracking? Well, I'm not going to ban fracking, but I'm going to get rid of all oil subsidies, and by 2025, all oil and gas will be gone from this country. So my father was like, pretty much you just said you're banning fracking. Yeah, I'm banning fracking. I mean, guys, these guys are so phony. So a couple months ago, you saw him. He comes out, we want no oil and gas. So then he shows up in Pittsburgh, and somebody in Pittsburgh, a reporter asks him, you know, are you going to ban fracking? And he goes, no, I'm not going to do that. The other guy's going to do that. You know, when he found out that it wasn't popular in Pennsylvania. And then the other day on the debate stage, I can't believe it. My father actually baited him into saying he's going to get rid of all the oil and gas. This is not the guy you want negotiating with Putin. That much I can tell you, all right? I can tell you this is not the guy you want negotiating with him. But guys, it's amazing. You know, so I always talk about 2016. And when you look at what my father ran against, and he didn't want to do this. He wanted to hop in because he was sick and tired of seeing our country literally go to hell under their leadership, right? They were doing a terrible, terrible job. And they were giving $150 billion away to Iran, a country that chants death to America. And you saw what was happening to our educational system, and you saw what was happening to our military. And I remember my father literally reading these articles. He'd be popping open a newspaper. I remember him reading one very clearly. The educational system of the United States of America is ranked 30th in the world. Think about that. 30th in the world. He goes, how are we ranked 30th in the world? We're the United States of America. We should be number 1 in everything we do because we're Americans and that's what we do. We win. But guys, now you look at actually what we're running against. We're running against, this isn't Democrats versus Republicans because I can't tell you how many Democrats will be voting for my father this time. I can't even begin to tell you. There's probably many Democrats in this room. You know, we do the statistics on all the rallies. 25% average of all the people that you see at my father's rallies are registered Democrats. 20% of them, 20% of those tens and tens and tens of thousands of people, 20% didn't vote in 2016, and 14% of all those people you see out there on TV haven't voted in the last 4 election cycles, if you can possibly Believe it. It tells you a lot about how this country's changing. I mean, look at Pennsylvania. Look at the crossover. Look how many Democrats have registered over to Republicans in the last 8 years, but mainly in the last 4 years. Look at the change. And it's because, honestly, the Republicans have we've become the party of the working man, and woman. We've become that party. And frankly, they've become the party of the elite. And it shouldn't surprise you. You see how much money this guy's making. I mean, you see how much money Hunter Biden is making. It doesn't surprise me that they've become the party of the elite. But guys, if you look at what we're running against, I mean, right now you see it's scary. It's scary, scary stuff. Look at the violations of the First Amendment, right? Look what they're doing online. The censorship on Google and Twitter and Facebook. I mean, my father literally can't say something without getting censored. If you post a pro-Republican, a pro-conservative video right now, you get kicked off of Twitter. It's disgusting. How many people in here have been kicked off of Twitter or Facebook or... And by the way, if you post something that they don't like, the other thing that they do is they just watch your engagements. They just go down to absolutely nothing, right? So they're censoring you without telling you that they're censoring you. And so they're doing that every single day. I'll give you a little secret. So we sign up for all of Biden's emails, right? It's kind of a fun little thing that we like to do. We like to see what he's sending out. I'm giving you guys inside baseball, but we sign up for all of his emails, and he signs up for all of ours, right? And if we send an email to ourselves, and he sends an email into the same box, under our email, they'll have a little box. Would you like to unsubscribe from the Trump emails? Guess what's under the Biden email? Nothing. I mean, guys, this is censorship. So they want to censor you. They want to strip religion and faith in this country. You see them doing that every day. There's probably no state that they've tried to do that in more than Pennsylvania. I mean, they're happy for ABC stores to be open, but they want to keep churches shut. Is there something wrong with that?
Yes.
And then you see the Democratic Party, they take out the words under God in the Pledge of Allegiance during the DNC. There's something wrong with that. And then they try and take in God we trust off of our national currency. There's something wrong with that. And then they kneel for the national anthem, and they kneel for the Pledge of Allegiance, and they want to strip the Pledge of Allegiance from schools. So they're coming after your First Amendment right of free speech. You're coming after freedom of religion. You better believe they're coming after your guns. Remember, Beto O'Rourke is going to be the gun czar, the quote-unquote gun czar, right? How many gun owners do we have in this room? A lot of gun owners. They're coming after your guns. They're coming after your Second Amendment. They're attacking law enforcement, the greatest people we have in this country, by far, hands down. You know, isn't it amazing to see people that want to take away your guns also want to abolish law enforcement? Isn't that kind of interesting? I don't know why no one ever mentions that, but it's a pretty crazy thing, you know. And they always say, no, we're not gonna defund the police. And guys, everywhere you look, every single one of these liberal cities, they are defunding the police. Look at my hometown in New York, right? I'm almost embarrassed to call it that, but they take $1 billion out of the NYPD. All right, any NYPD guys in here are retired, men or women? We always have a lot of NYPD. Shocked. They take $1 billion out of the NYPD, they get rid of all undercover law enforcement, and in 90 days, crime goes up by 300% in New York. Does that surprise anybody? No. And then they come out, we don't want to defund police. It's not that you don't want to, you are defunding police. Don't say that you don't want to defund police. You are defunding police. That's what they want to do. And so they go after our incredible men and women in blue. They allow cities like Seattle and Portland, all these places, to throw bricks at cops and frozen water bottles and sharpened pieces of PVC. They don't condemn it. They say that Antifa is just an idea. You remember Biden at the last debate, right? Antifa's not real. It's just an idea. It's like, I don't know. It's pretty real when you see these cops getting hurt and people shining lasers in their eyes, and you see churches on fire. No, that's pretty real. I wouldn't just say that's an idea. Then they want to increase your taxes by $4 trillion. So they want to roll back all my father's tax cuts. And then they want to throw an extra $4 trillion in taxes on it. So the extra $2,500 that everybody saves. And then they want socialized medicine. And then they want to ban plastic straws because that's a big priority. And then Kamala Harris last week comes out and we should consider limiting the amount of red meat that people can eat.
Whoa.
I don't think that works too well in Pennsylvania. Who enjoys red meat in Pennsylvania? We should consider it. And then you have Biden coming out. Let's pack the Supreme Court. Let's do it. I want to put together a commission to study packing the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court has 9 people on it. They want it to be 12 or 15 or 18 or 21, far left. And guys, you know Biden's not putting the people in there. You know who will be? AOC and Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi and Eric Swalwell and Shifty Shift. Isn't that a great name, Shifty Shift?
He's shift head.
Some of the nicknames of these guys, by the way, have like fallen away. But yeah, Shifty Shift. I mean, so Shifty Shift will put on.
It's shift head and the Democrats.
11 far left Supreme Court justices, which will fundamentally change who we are as a country. And these guys don't want school choice, and they don't want anything else. And again, they'll censor you if you disagree with them. If you don't, I mean. This is the far left party. This isn't the Democratic Party. This is not the party of JFK. This isn't the party of Bill Clinton. Guys, this is a radically left party that's frankly unrecognizable. And so, you look at my father. What does he want to do? Greatest economy ever, which we've already created.
Yes.
That's 401ks. Look at your 401k. If you have a 401k or a pension plan or an IRA or anything, take a look at it. Take a look at it right now.
Yep.
Look how much money you've made. Lowest unemployment, lowest African American unemployment, lowest Hispanic unemployment, lowest female unemployment. He wants to cut taxes again. He wants further tax cuts. He wants more deregulation for businesses. He wants to protect oil and gas, something that's so incredibly important to Pennsylvania. And I know we always talk about that, but think about that. When you take all the ancillary jobs, they say it's 300,000 direct jobs, but when you take all the ancillary jobs, it's close to 1 million in Pennsylvania, and it's a massive amount of energy jobs, and again, ancillary service jobs related to they want to take that away. You look at what he wants to do and has done with the military. Built the greatest military, most aircraft carriers, most fighter jets, most submarines. Does anybody remember that 60 Minutes during Obama? Does anybody remember this, where they took cameras down in our ICBMs in the Midwest, right? Our nuclear silos in the Midwest. And they're talking about how run down they are. Look over here, look how run down it is. It's decrepit, it's falling apart, it's rotting. And I'll never forget my father looking at that saying, why in the world would you ever take cameras into our nuclear silos? I mean, first of all, how could you ever let them get to that? And second of all, how incompetent could you ever be that you actually broadcast that weakness to the world?
Yeah, they're idiots.
And within a week of getting in, he had a general come up to him and he said, "Sir, no matter what you do," I tell the story virtually every time I speak, "no matter what you do, don't get into any conflicts." And he goes, "I didn't plan on it. In fact, I want to get out of endless wars." I kind of ran on that platform, but why are you telling me to not get into any conflicts? Well, sir, we are critically low on ammunition. Our military pretty much doesn't have any ammunition left. He goes, "You gotta be kidding me. Is this a joke?" "No, sir, we are critically low on ammunition." I mean, no one in this audience is low on ammunition yet. Oh, no. Is anybody in this audience low on ammo? Just the stores, yeah, exactly. It's because you bought it all. It's kind of interesting. Bought all the ammo, all the primers, all the... Yeah, exactly. But this is what he dealt with. And now look at us, as I said before, all right? You've got F-35s every day rolling off the assembly line when under Obama, planes couldn't even get airborne because we didn't have any more parts. You've got the Space Force, you've got satellites, you've got ultrasonic weapons. Why in the world did you take a guy from New York City who didn't know a damn thing about politics to figure this whole thing out? Guys, we didn't know anything about politics. Why did he take a guy from New York City who was a builder and didn't know anything about Washington, D.C.? I don't think he had ever actually slept in Washington, D.C. before Inauguration Day. I don't think he had ever actually spent the night in Washington, D.C. He'd been there like 3 times before. Why didn't he take a guy like that to figure this out?
He's a businessman.
Yeah, pretty much. And the other people are crooked as hell, truthfully. There's reasons for a lot of this. So you look at my father, he wants the greatest economy ever. He wants the greatest military ever. And he wants to take care of our veterans. How many veterans do we have out here? All the VAs, they talk, you know Obama and Biden, as we like to call him. Biden, they lost 310,000 veterans waiting in line to get into the VA. People who really needed help, seriously needed help. 310,000 veterans. So my father gets in, he goes, this system doesn't work, the VA is totally broken, so he signs a little piece of paper that said the US government will pay for any veteran if they want to get private health care. You know, if you don't like the VA, guess what? Go to your own private doctor and we'll pay for it. And guess what? Literally, guys, overnight the VA was fixed. It was fixed. And why did it take a guy who knew nothing about government, nothing about the VA, nothing about the military, why did it take him to come up with a rather simple but practical solution to fix this problem? Look at peace in the Middle East. Anybody see the new peace deal?
Yeah!
You had the fourth peace deal in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Fourth peace deal. You had Obama, and you had Biden, and you had John Kerry, you had everybody coming out. Have you ever moved the embassy of Jerusalem? Another thing that he did. You're going to create a hornet's nest. Remember John Kerry saying that you're going to create a hornet's nest if you ever move the embassy of Jerusalem. So he immediately ignores that advice. He immediately moves the embassy of Jerusalem because these guys are totally incompetent. And guess what? In 4 weeks, you have 4 peace deals. Isn't that a nice thing? Isn't it nice when you see peace?
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Again, why did it take a guy from New York who knew nothing about this stuff? Why did it take him to come in and fix this problem? Guys, issue after issue. I mean, look at right to try. Look at school choice. Look at charter schools. I mean, look how opposed Washington, D.C. was to our educational system in this country. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why. Why? Why were they against the parent choosing where their kid goes to school? Why? Yeah, there's a lot of indoctrination. There's a lot of money going to political campaigns from big organizations and other things. You absolutely have that. But, I mean, think about that. I mean, think about not allowing a kid to have school choice. And guys, I could go on and on. Look at the pharmaceutical prices right now. I mean, how cool is that? And no one talks about it. You know, the media never wants to talk about this accomplishment. It's like the coolest accomplishment. We used to sell drugs to Americans for like $10 a pill. We've all bought them. Right? But that same pharmaceutical company would sell it to France for 1/10 the amount of money. So they'd be selling the same pill that you were buying for $10 to someone in France for $1. And he's saying, how could this be possible? I mean, so Americans have to subsidize the research and development costs of the pharmaceutical industry? That doesn't make sense.
Nope.
That doesn't make sense. So he signs a little piece of paper. It's called Most Favored Nations, which is if you sell a drug to France or any other country around the world for $1, guess what? Americans get that same price. You cannot undercut America. And you know what? It's not actually that hard of a concept. It's not that hard of a concept. It's just every politician before my father knew that the pharmaceutical industry would literally put billions of dollars of negative ads against them. And guess what? The media every single day is a negative ad against my father, right? So he doesn't care. I think he's kind of indoctrinated to it. He's desensitized to it. So guess what? For about 3 weeks, every pharmaceutical company ran ads about how bad my father was. And he goes, listen, this is what you were doing to America. And as soon as he went out and he started loudly saying that, they stopped running the ads because they know they lost the battle right away. But why did it take a real estate developer to figure out drug pricing in the United States? I mean, guys, it doesn't make sense. And that goes to Joe Biden. All of this goes to Joe Biden. The guy has been in office for 47 years. 47 years. I'm 37. I'm not like the oldest guy in the world. I'm certainly not the youngest guy in the world. Imagine a guy who's been in politics 10 years longer than I've been alive. 10 years longer than I've been alive. Think about that. And then he's on the debate stage the other night. It was so great. You know, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. My father kept on looking at him. Joe, where the hell have you been over the last 47 years? Where have you been? You know, Obama, why didn't you fix criminal justice reform? Why didn't you do it?
Yeah.
Weren't you in a great spot to do it? Why in 8 years and having the House and having the Senate, why did you do criminal justice reform? Why did it take that real estate developer out of New York, and well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Why didn't he do it? Somebody had the cutest little analogy the other day. They go, if you take your car to a car repair shop and you leave it there for 47 years and then you go to pick up your car. And the mechanic goes, I need your car for another 4 years, but I promise it's going to be perfect. I'm going to do all these great things to it. Would you believe him?
No.
And honestly, guys, this guy's not in his prime. I mean, I've gotten hit plenty of times for saying that, but like this guy's not playing with a full deck of cards. We all know that.
Not even
Literally in the last month, he said he's running for United States Senate. Twice. My name is Joe Biden, and I am running for the United States Senate. I go, no, you're not. You're running for Commander-in-Chief. You should know that. And then he comes out of his basement, like for the first time a couple weeks ago, and a reporter comes up to him. Sir, what flavor ice cream are you eating? I can't tell you that. Just say vanilla, Joe. Just say anything. Say anything. Sir, where are you traveling tomorrow? He turns around to his wife. Honey, where are we traveling tomorrow? Now, this isn't like me or Don or Ivanka or my father, right, who's in literally 3 or 4 states every single day, right? We're in Michigan, Ohio, this and that. Between Monday and Tuesday of this week, meaning all day Monday and all day Tuesday, the 5 of us did 55 stops in 48 hours. It's a true story. 55 stops, 48 hours, and we covered every single one of the swing states. I mean, it's really incredible. We all spent a lot of time actually here in Pennsylvania, but he turns around to his wife. He hasn't left the basement. Honey, where am I going? Honey, you're going to Florida. I'm going to Florida, everybody. Folks, I'm going to Florida. I mean, can you imagine the guy has one event on his schedule? And he doesn't know where the hell he's going? It's unbelievable. And then you see him come out on Monday. We're going to put a lid on it. Now, he has some really bad stuff breaking about his son, who's a total crook, right? Which is probably why he wants to stay in the basement. But, guys, could you imagine if I did 1/100th of what Hunter Biden did? Could you imagine? You would have a SWAT team similar to Roger Stone's, and you would have CNN right there, and as I was speaking, they would come rushing into this room, and they would take me away in shackles, and you'd never see me ever again. Could you imagine? 10 million, remember his famous thing was 10 million to be held by H. Hunter. For the big guy.
Yep, the big guy.
10 million to be held by H for the big guy. And then the corresponding email, the next email in that little chain was, please don't use Joe Biden's name in email. He's a very paranoid guy. Just speak to him face to face. I mean, guys, does it get more corrupt than that?
Nope.
Does it get more corrupt than that? Oh, yeah. I don't know. Hey, she's got an awfully good run for her money right now. I never thought I could possibly say that. She's got an awfully good run for her money. It's unbelievable. My father he actually coined it like 2 days ago. He called it the laptop from hell. Has everybody heard this?
Yeah.
It's like the greatest. It's actually like the greatest branding to anything, but it is 10 million to be held by H for the big guy. Then he has the email, as I said before, right? Please don't use Joe Biden's name. And then he has an email to his sister, which is unbelievable. Unlike what Dad makes me do, I'm not going to make you pay me half of your salary. Oh, now I get it. So you get 10 million, and you split it with your father. Oh, that's convenient. Unlike what Dad makes me do, I'm not going to make you pay me half of my... Guys, if I had one email that looked anything like that, I'd be in jail for the rest of my life. It is the worst form of corruption.
Yeah.
It is the worst form of corruption. I mean, think about a kid, gets kicked out of the Navy for pretty bad stuff. We all know what he did. And the next month he's over in the Ukraine. He's making $183,000 a month. He doesn't speak Ukrainian. He knows nothing about gas, and he admits that. He knew nothing about gas. Never been to the country, hadn't spent any time in the country, etc. Barely knew the country. He's making $183,000 a month. Does that sound legit to anybody?
No.
You know, and then they try and hit us. They try and hit my family. Well, you know, the Trump family did well. It's like, yeah, guess what? We're international developers. It's like what we did.
Yep.
And then my father decided about 2 days before he ran for president that he was going to run for president. And we got out of business. Whereas Hunter Biden, the day his father ran for president, he got into business, vice president. He got into business. Isn't that kind of interesting, you know? Guys, it's why we're going to win. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's why we are going to win this thing. People get it. People get it. We have more people in the front row of this event right now than he had in Buck County. Buck County. Bucks County. It's Bucks County, Joe. Than he had in Buck County. And guys, I'm telling you, everywhere we go, you go to Minnesota, which where we're going to win. And you go to Nevada, which we're going to win. And you go to New Hampshire, which I promise you my father are going to win.
Yes.
And we're within the margin of error right now in New Mexico. I really believe he's going to win New Mexico. And we're sure as hell going to win Pennsylvania. I promise you. Guys, everywhere you go, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands of people when he shows up, I mean, and the love and support has never been better. And you remember the rallies, I mean, you remember the rallies in 2016, right? Everybody's chanting, you know, build the wall. By the way, another great thing that my father's done. 400 miles of wall. 400 miles of wall. Lowest illegal immigration, lowest human trafficking, lowest drug trafficking ever. It's unbelievable, actually. The human trafficking thing has become like the biggest thing. But guys, I'm telling you, everywhere you go, you literally have thousands and thousands of people showing up. And they used to have these chants, you know, build a wall. And they had one about CNN. I won't repeat it in here in case we have any young people in here, but CNN blank, right? And you had lock her up, which became lock him up in terms of Hunter Biden, right? So now they kind of modified it. But now, guys, they're chanting something very different. They're chanting, we love you. We love you.
Yes. We do.
Guys, that's not politics anymore. Honestly, that's not politics. That's love, that's family, that's country.
Yes.
That's not politics. Politicians don't have people chanting, we love you. Normally the exact opposite. They actually have people chanting the exact opposite. You go to New York State right now, they're not chanting we love you, they're chanting we hate you. For a little special mayor that we have in New York City who's done a terrible job, and the governor who's done a terrible job. It's unbelievable how those two have destroyed the state, and it's really unbelievable how those two have totally destroyed an unbelievable state. But you don't have, in politics, you don't have people chanting we love you. And that's what people are chanting. And guys, it's because